When the winds finally stopped, Jamaica fell silent. Not the silence of peace, the silence after something breaks. In St. Elizabeth and Westmoreland, whole streets disappeared under water and debris. 80% of roofs in some communities were torn away. Walls that had stood for generations crumbled like chalk. Electrical poles lay scattered like matchsticks across the mud. Roads once alive with people and commerce were now rivers of clay. It was as if a piece of the island had been peeled back and left exposed, the bones of a country staring at its own vulnerability. This was Hurricane Melissa, a Category 5 storm that made landfall on October 28, 2025, the strongest to strike Jamaica in history. Lives have been lost, billions of dollars in damage were left behind. But what followed was a question no one had asked so bluntly before. Should we rebuild where we were, or retreat to a safer location? After the storm, the reckoning. Every hurricane leaves behind more than debris. It leaves decisions. In the days after Melissa, families waited for water and food supplies. Some tried to salvage what remained, and others await relief teams. Government teams surveyed shattered towns, including Black River, Treasure Beach, Negril, and Montego Bay. They found patterns that echoed those found by Gilbert in 1988, Ivan in 2004, and Sandy in 2012. Poor roofing anchors, flooded roads, and homes built too close to the sea. Yet this time, the damage was worse because the ocean itself had changed. Warmer water, slower moving systems, heavier rain. In just 36 hours, Melissa intensified from a Category 2 to a Category 5. The kind of rapid intensification scientists have warned about for years. Each storm feels like a new disaster, but together they are part of the same story. A pattern that asks whether Jamaica's beloved coastline can remain our permanent home. The cost of coming back. Rebuilding is both instinct and identity. After every storm, Jamaicans rise with hammers, zinc, and hope. But this time, the financial reality is staggering. Preliminary damage assessments placed the cost of recovery at $7 billion, with agriculture, tourism, roads, and housing hardest hit. In St. Elizabeth alone, once responsible for nearly 40% of Jamaica's vegetables, farmland vanished under silt and salt. Roads were washed away. Insurance coverage remains low, with fewer than 1 in 10 homeowners having disaster insurance. Government aid and remittances are stretched, but are strongly supplemented by relief supplies from Jamaicans at home and abroad, local entities, and foreign countries. Economists warn that by 2030, climate-related losses could consume 4 to 5% of GDP annually. The question is not whether Jamaica can afford to rebuild. It's whether Jamaica can afford to keep rebuilding in the same place. The coastal paradox. The sea is Jamaica's blessing and its burden. Our ports, resorts, fisheries, and cultural identity all cling to the shoreline. Yet 60% of the island's population and 80% of our tourism assets lie within 5 kilometers of the coast. Erosion eats away up to 1 meter of land per year in some parishes. Scientists warn that sea level rise and coral reef loss could expose $1.3 billion in infrastructure by mid-century. Meanwhile, mangroves, nature's seawalls, have declined by nearly a third over the last 50 years. This is the paradox. The same sea that feeds our families and fuels our economy is the one dismantling our future, wave by wave. Rebuild or retreat? The national debate. Across the island, The argument is emotional and divided. For many coastal residents, the land is not negotiable. It's heritage. Fishermen in Alligator Pond, farmers in Paroti, and hoteliers in Negril all ask the same question. If we leave the coast, what becomes of our livelihoods? But planners and climate experts counter, if we stay without adaptation, what becomes of our lives? This is the defining tension between rebuilding for pride and retreating for survival. And it is not unique to Jamaica. It's unfolding across the Caribbean and beyond. Global lessons for a small island. Barbuda, 2017. After Hurricane Irma, the government ordered all residents to evacuate. The island remained uninhabited for months. Homes were rebuilt, but the social fabric tore. Displacement led to anger and distrust. Florida Keys, USA. Hurricane-resilient building codes produced concrete fortresses that withstood storms, but property values skyrocketed, pushing working families out. Aceh, Indonesia. After the 2004 tsunami, communities led their own rebuilding, relocating inland voluntarily while preserving village networks. They built homes with shared labor and local materials. It worked because people owned the process. Jamaica's path lies somewhere between these extremes, neither forced retreat nor blind rebuilding, but a model built on consultation, cultural respect, and long-term planning, policy and possibility. Jamaica already has the framework for a smarter future. The Building Act 2018 enforces hurricane-resistant standards, wind-rated roofing, stronger foundations, and safer designs. The Disaster Risk Management Act supports community preparedness and relocation assistance. And Vision 2030. Jamaica places resilience at the core of national development. Experts are now calling for zoning that divides the island into red, yellow, and green zones. Red zones, too dangerous for reconstruction, encourage voluntary relocation. Yellow zones, defend with barriers, mangrove restoration, and improved drainage. Green zones, safe areas for sustainable development. Nature can be an ally. Healthy mangroves absorb up to 70% of wave energy. Coral reefs dissipate 97% of storm force before they reach shore. Protecting them is not a natural charity, it's self-defense. The economics of adaptation. Studies show that every $1 spent on resilient construction saves $4 in recovery costs. The Caribbean Development Bank estimates that adapting infrastructure today could spare Jamaica tens of billions over the next 3 decades. Relocation is expensive, but so is rebuilding roads, utilities, and schools after every major storm. Managed retreat, if community-driven, can cost less and save more lives. Yet beyond economics lies emotion. How do you price the value of a home? What is the worth of a coastline that holds a nation's memory? This is the ethical equation behind every policy debate. Survival versus belonging. Hope in the rebuild. Amid the devastation, new possibilities are emerging. Civil engineers are testing modular housing that can be assembled in days. Students from the University of Technology are designing floating classrooms for flood-prone areas. Youth groups are replanting mangroves along Clarendon's coast. And the Jamaican diaspora is funding pilot resilience projects, small communities rebuilt to international hurricane standards. These are not acts of recovery alone. They are acts of reimagination. The next generation is proving that resilience is not just about enduring storms, but also about evolving beyond them. Hurricane Melissa tested Jamaica's buildings and our imagination. It forced a question no generation before us has had to answer so urgently. Will we continue to rebuild what the sea will take again? Or will we build a Jamaica that learns from its storms? Rebuilding is courage, retreat is wisdom, and the real future lies where the two meet, in adaptation, because the storms are changing, and so must we. If you haven't yet done so, please subscribe to Impacting Jamaica for more stories that move the nation from recovery to readiness.